Thank you. Thank you very much. I hope I'm audible. If you're not, please let me know. So, first of all, pranams to Swami Sri Hari Prasad, and of course, seeking the blessings of Sadguru and my own Guru, Swami Chinmayananji, and all the Gurus in the world, all those who are teaching, all those who are bringing up children across the world. Salutations. So thank you very much for this invitation and this opportunity. I am always humbled by the love and concern with which Swami Sri Hari Prasad treats me. And I'm very happy to use every opportunity that he gives me as a blessing. And we've been having some wonderful speakers. So I think it's always a privilege to be counted as one of the speakers in the conference. The Vishnu Mohan Foundation does a wonderful job in bringing diversity in the kind of speakers that we get every year. And I think maybe they're hoping some of us get better and we get invited again so that we improve in the way we speak. At least I speak for myself. So there's been a lot of talk, very serious talk in the last 2 days, and I thought I'll start with a little light-hearted humor. So there was this couple, very young couple. Husband is a software engineer, wife is also a software engineer, both busy in the morning getting to work. And, the child has not done his homework and he says, can you help me? While they are cooking and shaving and dressing and all of that, the child wants a little help. So he says, what do you want? He says, I want to know how a war starts. What is war? So I think the father says, okay, let me quickly tell you while I'm shaving, what is war? He says, when there is aggression between two countries or two kings, when they attack each other, then, they use weapons and then they attack, they cross the border, all of that. So hearing this, the mother who was cooking said, you don't know my son, he's so small, he can't understand all this. Tell him that, whenever two kings fight, they shout at each other, and that's how they start throwing things at each other so that he will understand. Then the husband said, no, that's not the way to tell him. I know how to tell him. He's my son and I know he'll understand. She says, no, that's what you think. You always think you know everything. She says, how dare you say that to me? And a little argument starts, and then the child puts up his hand and says, stop, stop, stop. Now I know how a war starts. I think the point is well made. War starts because of the ego. Every one of us has it. Some of us manage to keep it under our control. Some of us go beyond the ego to experience real happiness and freedom. But most of us living in the day-to-day world look for sustainable development through the eyes of people who have strong egos. So I don't think it's a problem that we have war. It was there when Arjuna had to fight the war. It was war. Today, when Russia and Ukraine are fighting, it is war. War will continue as long as there are human beings and as long as there is the human ego. And there is nothing wrong with that. What we need to do then is to find out why and how we can end wars. Of course, today India is playing a very active role. As a country, our Prime Minister has been leading the way, bringing countries together for sustainable development. He has been entering different groups, stitching them together in alliance, in consensus, to try and beat the real problems of the earth rather than the notional problems that we create on national disputes. The real problems, which are, energy, environment, all of that get pushed behind. And we believe that, a few countries are creating wars so that they can sell more weapons. It's not as simple as that. It's not very simple that just because I make a gun, I can make you fight with someone using my gun. It goes beyond that. We know that even now when there's a football World Cup going on, We know how people get passionate about supporting their teams. And we know that riots have broken out in different parts of the world over a football game. But real education and real right education for sustainable development is to understand that this whole world is about a game and not a war. In a game, you can lose and still feel like a winner if you're played to the best of your ability. You can actually feel that you have done a good job, you tried your best, and you can shake hands and take off your jersey, give it to the other player because you respect each other. In a war, even if you respect the other person, you cannot leave him to live another day because then the fear that you will lose if he wins is a major reason that people should avoid war. So we cannot have war in a developing world, and we cannot have development in a war-torn world. So what do we do about that? And today I thought I will go into a few points to make it as short as possible, simply because if you take it from your standpoint, I have my views because I've brought up in a particular culture. But we are talking about sustainable development across the world, the three P's, as they call it, of business, the triple bottom line of business: profit, people, planet. Unless you care for all three, you're not a great company. You're just a good company making profit, which is very easy for all of us. All of us start businesses for profit. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're only interested in profit, then you are really not going to be a great businessman. Then, of course, you should take care of the people who work for you. So obviously, your family, the family of people, employees, people who work for you, very good. But most importantly, the planet. How much do you care for people across the world, that your business should not harm them, that what you do should not kill them in the long run? And that is really where we need to think about sustainable development. Today, you have countries like Israel, Singapore, so many other countries which are way ahead of technology, the cutting edge, as they call it, and they're ready to give it to anybody who's ready to come to them, because the single word that matters is trust. If you trust, then you can actually do a lot of business anywhere in the world. But where trust is lost, very difficult to actually conduct business. And the biggest enemy to trust is corruption. So today you have in Africa some countries, including South Africa, that you feel bad that Nelson Mandela did so much for peace. But today South Africa is suffering because of corruption. I think it's well known now that it is not one of the best countries in the world, even in Africa, for development, simply because countries like Ethiopia, which have very little natural resources, which have struggled with famine, are doing much better because of great benign kings like Haile Selassie and benign dictators like Kemal Ataturk Pasha in all of us know, right? In Turkey, several other countries where politicians have done so well for their people simply because of one word, which is going to be what I'm going to talk about today. What is sustainable development? In one word, it is a win-win relationship. You have to create a win-win relationship. Even Chanakya said, one of the first pillars of Chanakya's famous work on governance is that thou shalt not do business with someone who shall not make any money out of it. So if you are going to exploit the other person, in which case most of us cannot do business because we're always trying to exploit the other person, including the domestic help at home. We try to exploit them. We try to get extra work. We tell them, look, you'll only do so much work, and we fix the salary. After that, we push extra work on them. Unless we start behaving better, we cannot really afford to have a win-win world. So sustainable development to me is a win-win world. And I'm going to ask Shyam from our team to put on the PPT so that I can just run through a few slides and tell you what I feel about right education and sustainable development in a stricken world. Let's see how we can go about it. How can we establish peace and development? Shyam, if you're ready, can I have the PPT, please? Thank you so much. Okay, so first of all, I must thank the Vishnu Mohan Foundation for inviting me. And let's log into what I call the winwinworld.com for sustainable development. So what is the winwinworld.com? Well, you can see the www, which stands for a win-win world. Okay, not just the World Wide Web. The win-win world, you can even look at it two other ways, right? What went well, what went wrong. If we did an audit all the time, we can create a win-win relationship. Even when I talk to you, what went well will help me, but what went wrong will help me even more if I get feedback from you. And that's how we create trust in a win-win world. So let's go to the next slide. Yeah. So why do we need peace? The preamble to the United Nations, the Charter of the UNO, starts a very beautiful sentence, which I think I have said, quoted before, even in one of our encounters, I'm not sure, but it's one of my favorites. It says, war does not start on the battlefield. It starts in the minds of men. And it is in the minds of men that bastions of peace must be built. And what Swamiji has done here in the last 7 editions and should be copied all over the world, replicated all over the world. Even in schools, we should have peace conferences. Even in colleges, universities, offices, we should hold peace conferences once a year. Swamiji, congratulations for this idea. It deserves to be taken, and which is why I always like to support you in this venture, because it deserves to be spoken about more and more. Unless we talk about peace, we shall never achieve it. And if we talk about war, that is what we will achieve. So we must build the bastions of peace in the minds of human beings. Only then there will be development, there will be business, because trust is high. In a secure environment, I will go and do business. If I feel that I'm going to be threatened, I'm not going there. So that's the reason that we need a peace-filled world. So next. Yep. Shyam or whoever. Yeah. So what do I want to say? It is love that is really keeping people together. Unless we talk about peace and love together, we will never be able to understand how we can spread peace in the world. Because peace must ensure progress, but progress should promote peace. So unless when we are having a good time, we don't remind ourselves that we have a larger responsibility, we're going to get carried away, have parties. Now we are going into New Year, we'll have a party, right? And then we forget there are people who don't have food to eat. Have you ever thought of feeding them on New Year's Day? No, we don't. So unless we remind ourselves during peacetime that war should not happen, it will never, never be stopped, because this starts when the ego is very, very excited. People think that, peace can come from excitement, but excitement will never bring you peace. That's what Thich Nhat Hanh, the famous Vietnamese monk who passed away in Paris, recently said, that people think that, you get excitement, but you will never get peace from excitement. If you want peace in the world and happiness, it has to come from peace within and peace around you. It can never come from excitement. So you're having a party, there's a football game, somebody loses, you get angry, there's a fight, and there's a threat in the environment. So let's spread the word of love and peace. Next. Yes. The ancient Indian wisdom traditions believe in a very unique concept. I think these 4 words are key to every Indian across the world, perhaps every other person in the world. Can we go back to that slide? I think you skipped the slide before I finished it. Can we go back one slide? Excuse me. Yeah. No, next one. I think the one in the middle is not staying. Is there a problem? Can I move it from here? Yeah. So dharma, yes, how to live ethically. We have to teach people dharma. Dharma just means dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. If you protect others, they will protect you. If you protect truth, truth will protect you. If you protect honor, honor will protect you. If you protect strength, strength will protect you. So whatever you do for others called dharma. Of course, you need wealth creation. The chairperson for this session has worked with Infosys. They are one of the biggest wealth creators in India today, simply because 6 people just got together and started a company dreamt of. Because wealth creation is important for the planet, for the others, not just for yourself. And if you live simply like Narayan Murthy and Sudha Murthy, you can actually live like Rishi. Though you have created so much wealth, you don't have to spend it on big cars and big houses. You can live simple lives, but help more for everyone all over the world. And just mentioning people so they resonate in my mind and they might resonate with yours. So obviously, then what do you want? You want, obviously, when you have wealth, a little desire for yourself to have children, to give them the best education, to give them a better house, a better job. All that is good. So karma is perfect. But you get to a point when you feel all this is not enough. And then naturally you evolve into moksha. Unless you reach that stage, you will not give up fighting. So you might say that I want moksha, but mentally you are not looking for moksha because you live in bondage, you love bondage, and that's how we all. Dharma helps because it keeps a framework for coexistence, a framework for a win-win world. That should be created in whatever name you call it. You might call it dharma, you might call it anything else, but you need to create that framework. So next, oh, I'm running short. I need to really run through my time. Yes. So what do we want in a win-win world? We want more collaboration, more co-creation, more contribution. This is incidentally the philosophy behind the L&D Global, of which I am the founder director. My friend Surya Mahapatra created it, and he came up with this line saying collaboration, co-creation, and contribution. This is all that we need for a win-win world. And there are so many countries that are doing it. I mean, we made vaccines which we gave to many people in the world. There's no account for it. People felt so grateful that even small countries like Trinidad and Jamaica thank us for helping them. So this is how we create sustainable development solutions based on trust. Next. So we came up with a model in Mantra, which we use in many companies, which we call the sea model. The sea, life is like the sea, right? And the sea is the best place to learn, about life. So what did we say? SEA, self-awareness. Be aware of who you are. This makes a big change in our education. Teach your children who they are, not what they have. Don't teach them that, we need more money, we need bigger cars. Teach them that you're a nice boy, you're a very loving boy, you're a nice girl, you show a lot of love, this is the way to behave, respect for others, etc. Enthusiasm. We're all born happy people, but then we become very, very complex as we grow up. So teach people to connect with their energy, right? Through yoga, through breathing, through pranayama, through Ayurveda. Teach them to be enthusiastic people because of their wellness. And most importantly, teach them assertiveness. What is that? A win-win relationship. So just to explain that in a minute, next slide. The C model is actually sustainable for not just for individuals, right? I can live better, my country can live better, every product we make can be better, and of course the environment, the whole planet can be better, simply by creating a win-win world. Next. So how do we do it? DEI, as we call it, right? Celebrate diversity, celebrate the fact that Everyone is important in the world, however different you are, right? And you must celebrate diversity. Let's also ensure equity. If I have something, can I share it? Today, we don't teach children to share things. We buy two Cadbury's chocolates for two children at home. Actually, buy one and make them break it and share. And that's how they become more of equity rather than equality. Otherwise, if you got a big chocolate, I got a small one, and the fight starts. Instead, you say, no, let's look for equity, balance. And of course, let's promote inclusivity. Let's include everyone in whatever we do by removing the barriers of bias, unconscious bias. Swamiji and I have a great discussion on unconscious bias some time ago, and this is a fact that we have to live with. Our raga and our dvesha create so much bias in our mind. When we develop a world, we should make sure that it is free of our own biases and include as many other people and their likes and dislikes as well. Next. So what happens if you create a lose-lose world? Most countries that are so powerful create aggression because they say it's a win-lose. If I win, you must lose. Only then I feel I have won. Or the other country submits, right? And then you become a submissive person. Lose, win. Oh, what can I do? We are too small. That's what we thought about Ukraine when the war started. Now we realize with some support, they have been able to match them. And therefore, they are not submissive. They don't want to give in. But war is all about creating either a win or a loss. Then, of course, we have people who say, look, I might die, but I'll see that I kill you before I die. So war creates another scenario called antagonism. I might not win, but I will make sure that you will not win. This is what the famous General Patton said. So what do we need next? Yep. A win-win world. That is assertive. So what does that mean? Respect for self, respect for others. If you can increase respect for yourself, but equally respect for others, then we are successful. Otherwise, what happens is we feed our own ego that we are very respectful for ourselves, but we don't accept other people. Next. So one must be strong and powerful without being aggressive, but respect oneself as well as respect others equally. And the simple four words that explains it all, Loka Samasta Sigano Bhavantu. Everybody in the world should be happy, right? If I can create education that points to that, then kids are going to grow up because they grow up like that. And then they become very complex as they grow up with this idea of power and aggression. So peace can really come when as we are born as children, we just develop love for other people and believe that everyone in the world has a right to be happy. Next. So the right education should build willpower, build strength of body, build clarity of mind, build light, bright thinking, and most importantly, at the spiritual level, it must build development of faith in the unknown. Religion is about faith in the unknown. I don't know what is in store for me. Please give me the strength, O Lord, to face it. This is all, whichever religion, whichever God, all you need is to understand, I don't know the unknown. Please help me to face it. And if you can develop that faith, you have absolutely mastered peace within yourself. Next. So the right education discourages instant gratification and teaches us to do what is correct and not only what is convenient. Most children grow up with convenience, not with what is correct, but with what is convenient. So, but today is a holiday, you can sleep late, so there's no discipline. So, whatever happens, you have to get up at 5 in the morning. Whether there's school or not, you have to use your time. Then you become a disciplined person. Next. I'm sorry, I'm running like the fast train, but that's the way I think we will understand this better. So what is the right education? It moves us from an easygoing downhill path of prayers, as the Bhagavad Gita says, prayers or pleasure, to the high climbing, satisfying path of achievement called Shreyas or happiness. If you want real long-term happiness, look for the hard path of Shreyas. If you want instant gratification, pleasure, everything nice for the short term, not ready for the long term, no willpower, prayers. That's what children today are going through in most developed countries. I think we should watch out. Okay. And the last message is, therefore, the ABCD of whatever I'm going to say is develop the attitude. That is where we come in. At Mantra, my company, we talk about attitude. We call ourselves attitude consultants. So what do we mean? If the attitude is right, the behavior will be right. If the behavior is right, you will get the right character. If you get the right character, you can change and create the right destiny. So all we need to do with education today is spend time on creating the right attitude. In Japan, they say kids are told the first year not to study anything except to concentrate on respect for others, on cleanliness, on certain core values of living. And they are taught this in the first few years till it becomes a second nature to them. This is how the army develops discipline in people. And this is how all over the world they achieve results. So I would like to leave you with the thought that ABCD should remind you that the right attitude can lead to right behavior. Right behavior leads to right character, and right character creates a right destiny for each one of us. So I think we have to look for the long term, look for sustainable development, and most of all, look for more willpower in our children. So let's not lose the joy in living. Let's create more joy, but also tell them to live in harmony with people around them. Create a win-win world. Thank you, Swamiji. I hope I have not overshot my time. It happens to all of us. Grateful to you for the time and hope that I created a tiny ripple of thought that might help you to think deeper into such a wonderful subject. And God bless you all. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu.